Hello, you're watching Race to Power. I'm Shreya Upadhyay. New Delhi has become the center of a persistent political face-off between the opposition and the ruling government. Once again, the parliament witnessed repeated adjournments only to end the day without any legislative business being carried out. Amid this to and fro, Sonam Wangchuk has written a fresh letter with demands and conditions to end his hunger strike. Tonight we tell you all that has been happening in India's national capital. We also get you more from Israel. The country is heading towards elections, and remember, polls right now show Prime Minister Netanyahu's Likud party lagging behind at number 2 spot. Who's at the top spot? We're getting you all the details on the show tonight, but first, let's talk about India. Deadlock continues to persist in the Indian Parliament. The opposition lawmakers are protesting against police action during the Cockroach Movement's Parliament March. The first 2 days of the monsoon session were washed out already, and today, after repeated adjournments, the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha were adjourned for the day without any legislative business. Leader of opposition in the Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, addressed a press conference today, and he expressed his full support to the protesting students. He called India's education system rigged and reiterated the demands of the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Prime Minister Modi's apology is also something that he said the students are demanding, as well as justice for students who faced police crackdown.
Is that our education system, which was known to be one of the best education systems in the world, is today in rigged system. I don't say this lightly. Thousands of students who are running around outside are not saying this lightly. The first demand, completely legitimate demand, is that Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, who has failed as an education minister, who is known to be corrupt, should be relieved of his duties. 100% legitimate demand, nothing wrong with it.
Earlier in the day, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju took the floor in the Rajya Sabha. He said that the government is ready to discuss the issue of the NEET paper leak in the Parliament.
Our government is ready to hold discussion on NEET exam paper leak for the future of students. It is our duty to inform people of India about the decisions and steps we have taken to curb paper leak.
On Tuesday, veteran BJP leader JP Nadda and Union Minister Jitendra Singh paid a visit to activist Sonam Wangchuk, who is currently admitted at the Medanta hospital. Following this meeting, Wangchuk wrote a fresh letter saying that the central government has agreed to give compensation to the kin of students who committed suicide, hold a meaningful discussion in the parliament, and give an assurance of the consideration of Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Sonam Wangchuk has agreed to end his hunger strike if the government promises that no legal action will be taken against the protesters. A delegation of opposition MPs also reached Medanta Hospital carrying a letter asking Sonam Wangchuk to end his hunger strike. Wangchuk's wife received the letter outside the hospital premise as leaders were not allowed to enter the hospital and meet him. Meanwhile, CJP founder Abhijit Dipke has urged Sonam Wangchuk to end his hunger strike as well. As Cockroach Movement's protest at Jantar Mantar continues, BJP leader and Union Health Minister JP Nadda are scheduled to address a press conference in a short while from now. Let's also quickly listen in to the political reactions that have been emerging from the government as well as the opposition parties all through the day today.
मुद्दा कांग्रेस समाजवादी पार्टी बीजेपी का नहीं है, ये मुद्दा युवाओं और छात्र नौजवानों का है। आपने इनको बुलवा दिया क्या समझौता कर लिया आपने क्या? आपने क्यों नहीं बोलने दिया हमें? अध्यक्ष महोदय,
You are a parents patrie in the form of a government. Parents patrie means you are the protector. You are the father and mother in a symbolic sense. Forget us, forget politicians. But can you treat those who are angry with you or who disagree with you in this manner? There is no question of any rebellion, insurrection, violence, pre-planned conspiracy. And you are not only filing FIRs, but you are using batons. People are saying that those batons had sharp edges. I think it's a very sad day for this country.
This was not 1984 where, there was streets were burning. What you saw was the own government, an own government turning its guns on its own children and its own students who were sitting in non-violent protest. These students were demanding something legitimate.
हम इस बात के लिए भी पूरी तरह से प्रतिबद्ध हैं कि किसी भी व्यक्ति, विशेषकर हमारे छात्रों और नौजवानों के साथ किसी भी प्रकार का अन्याय न हो। और विपक्ष के कुछ नेताओं द्वारा मैन्युफैक्चर्ड एक सेंस ऑफ एंगर, आक्रोश लोगों के अंदर केवल जनता, विशेषकर बच्चों के नौजवानों को भ्रमित करने और गुमराह करने का मैं मानता हूं कि यह असफल प्रयास है।
सरकार हर मुद्दे पर चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार है और इसके साथ साथ नीट में पेपर लीक और उससे निकलने वाली सारी गतिविधियों पर भी हमारी सरकार चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार है।
सरकार ने स्पष्ट करके कहा है कि हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं, आप आइए चर्चा करिए। अब कल चर्चा मांग रहे थे, सुबह तक चर्चा मांग रहे थे, आज चर्चा करना नहीं चाहते हैं। ये अब देश के सामने स्पष्ट हो गया है कि उनका जो है वो विषय केवल और केवल अपनी सत्ता की क्षुधा को शांत करे।
Our correspondent Dharamjot Kaur has sent us this report from Jantar Mantar. Remember, she's been tracking the developments at the site all through the day today. Take a look.
As night now falls here at Jantar Mantar, more and more protesters continue to arrive at the designated protest site. While in the morning you see a few thousand people standing about half a kilometer inside the enclosure, by the time the sun sets, that crowd doubles, triples, quadruples in number. But when it comes to the political corridors of the country, the government and the opposition are still trading accusation and verbal blows with respect to any conversation about India's education system. While the opposition, especially the Congress party and the others, maintain that they want the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, which is a student protesters' ask. The government, on the other hand, is saying that the opposition, while it says it wants to talk, is not allowing talks to happen in Parliament. For 3 days in a row, Parliament's monsoon session has been adjourned without any conversation moving forward. Can that finally happen on the 4th day of the monsoon Parliament session is the big question. But while the political corridors decide the future of India's youth, thousands still remain here at Jantar Mantar raising their demands from day one, which is complete accountability of leaks of entrance examinations in India, ensuring financial compensation for the students who died by suicide after this leak happened just a few months ago, and also again reiterating the demand for the resignation of the Education Minister. How much of those demands does the government really listen to at the end of the day? That question still remains unanswered. Here at Jantar Mantar with video journalist Abhishek, this is Dharamjot Kaur for WION World.
And now let me welcome Aditi Fadnis to the broadcast. She's a senior journalist and contributing editor, Business Standard. She's joining us live from the national capital. Aditi ji, good evening. Welcome to WION. In a short while from now, at about 8:30 p.m. is when we're expecting the government to hold a press conference. What are your expectations from that? There's a lot that has been going on in the national capital all through the day today. Lots of talks, lots of, olive branches being extended from a lot of sides and a lot of verbal spats as well. What do you expect the government to say in a few minutes from now?
Well, frankly, not a lot. I think the government is probably going to once again reiterate that it's committed to having a discussion and so on and so forth. But frankly, everything has gone beyond that now. Uh, I heard Rahul Gandhi speaking at his press conference, and he did not. I mean, it seems to be that that there are two totally different scenarios seen by the actors. Rahul Gandhi says that they did not agree to a discussion when the opposition asked for it, and so they were forced to go out on the streets. The government is saying we are ready for a discussion anytime. So obviously somebody is not quite. I mean, the two conversations are not aligning. But that's not the issue. The only issue. I think this comes. This is not a. This is not an episodic crisis. It's a structural crisis. I think there's a serious structural problem with our educational system. Children are very pushed to great pressure, under great pressure, perform in exams. When they find that those exams are set aside, it is very difficult for them to reconcile to the fact that they had studied so hard and that somebody has leaked the paper. The whole system is based on coaching, on not really on learning. It's based on a whole lot of other things, which on which a whole different kind of political economy rests. And until you dismantle that, the resignation of one or other minister is frankly not going to solve the problem.
So, Aditya, while you and I and all of the opposition lawmakers as well as the government agree to the fact that there are reforms that are needed to the education system, one of the constructive ways is to go through the parliament, have a discussion. My question is, do you think that the opposition, by coming out on the streets, and we've been seeing these visuals for the past 3 days, whether it's outside the parliament or on the streets of New Delhi, are they diluting this entire demand and protest? Because you need to be inside the parliament to have a discussion on whatever change you need. But here you've got Rahul Gandhi holding a different press conference, Aam Aadmi Party accusing the Congress Party of not willing to hold a discussion in the parliament, SP led by Akhilesh Yadav going completely the other way. So there's a rift, but do you think that the opposition should actually unite and have a discussion in the parliament instead of, disrupting the proceedings every day?
I don't think disrupting the proceedings is also, I mean, that is also a legitimate part of being the opposition. The opposition obviously has to be reflective of what is happening on the streets. Merely by sitting in parliament and debating doesn't really address that gap. So I'm pretty sure that in the coming days there will be some discussion, but this is a crisis. Sitting in parliament and debating it is not going to address the crisis. And somebody has to, when people come out on the streets, we've seen this in the past in India. When people come out on the streets, that protest is in a way much more productive than merely sitting in the parliament and discussing issues of structure. In his press conference, I will concede that Rahul Gandhi does not say what are the structural changes that the opposition wants to see, which will correct this problem of repeated leaks and uh, papers being unfairly evaluated and so on and so forth. So we have not really heard the opposition on all those issues. It's in fact been children who have brought the solutions to the table, as it were. We've seen a boy explaining how the system was gamed and how it can be set right.
Yes.
We would like to hear that, but somebody has to speak up for all those children who are sitting there in Jantar Mantar.
One man,
you
Aditiji,
can't
who
have one
was
without
and
the
who
other.
has been speaking for those children, those students, parents, all of them at Jantar Mantar, has been Sonam Wangchuk. He's at the Medanta hospital. He wrote a fresh letter today, and he said that he's willing to end his hunger strike if, one, there is a discussion in the parliament, and two, the government assures him that there will be a consideration of Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Do you see that as a toning down, a step down from what Sonam Wangchuk started with, a clear demand of the resignation of the education minister?
I don't think so. I think it's only tactical. And I think he also understands that merely I mean, it's not that before Dharmendra Pradhan was education minister, no leaks ever took place. That is also not true. So there is a structural problem. I think by accepting that that a consideration of Pradhan's resignation will be taken into account, he is saying that yes, there is a problem there. But I don't think it's going to be a lasting solution, changing the face of the education minister. You're actually giving the government an out if you change the face. And we all know that a cabinet reshuffle is due to take place. So I don't think that is the issue. But the fact is, I'm continually amazed. This is not a Gen Z movement. This is not what has happened in Nepal or Bangladesh. This is something different. Uh, I am not. I mean, there's this collection of young people in Jantar Mantar without the left wing, without the left students' unions, the SFI and the AISF, and other organized bodies. This kind of presence and continual addition of students would not have happened. So maybe the government needs to take notice of that. And, after all, the BJP is the biggest political party in the world. It has a very powerful students' wing. How is it that those students are so silent now? They are the same lot of students, right? They have the same sorts of problems. So
Okay.
why is the ABVP not speaking up on these kind of issues?
Oh, okay, so let me quickly then ask you my last question, Aditi ji. How do you see this moving forward, if not the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan, and if not, a discussion inside the parliament that would bring about a lasting change? What, according to you, would bring about a lasting, permanent change where we can see positive, changes coming in through this movement?
So that's a set of three issues. First, Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation. Let's be realistic. We know that the Prime Minister is well known for not agreeing to act under pressure. So I'm pretty sure that in the cabinet reshuffle, there will be some sort of a lateral movement of some kind. But I don't think simply because there are people who are sitting outside Jantar Mantar, the cabinet needs to be changed. I don't think that will happen. That is not in character with the government as we know it. Number two, parliament discussion probably will happen. It's not that you cannot keep on yelling and screaming and getting arrested and getting detained and expect that that will be your strategy. That's not a lasting strategy. So I'm pretty sure that there will be a discussion, but not until all the uh, part of the anger that continues to inflame passions, part of that anger is dissipated.
Okay.
Then after that, they will sit down and they will probably have a talk and they will discuss in parliament. But merely to expect that merely a discussion in parliament will resolve all these issues is also not realistic.
All right, let's wait and watch what happens in the next few minutes and, of course, the next few days. Thank you very much. I'll leave it there, Aditi Fadnis, for joining us on WION and sharing your perspective. All right, with that, let's also tell you how the high-voltage showdown between the government and the opposition over the students' protest in Delhi has spread to other states. Workers of both the Congress and the Bharatiya Janata Party launched protests and counter-protests across multiple cities today. In Gujarat, Congress workers held protest over the detention of Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and the NEET paper leak. In Chandigarh, meanwhile, Congress leaders and workers demonstrated outside the governor's residence. In Bhopal and Guwahati, similar scenes of sit-ins unfolded in front of the governor's residence. Meanwhile, counter-protests by the BJP also emerged. In fact, BJP workers protested at the Congress offices in state capitals of Bihar, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand and Chhattisgarh. The Bharatiya Janata Party was protesting against the sit-in by Rahul Gandhi and other Congress leaders in front of Prime Minister Modi's residence in New Delhi. In Mumbai, students came out in support of the Cockroach Janata Party and the police brutality against the students on Tuesday in the national capital. In fact, some of the students alleged that they have been summoned by the Mumbai police for questioning as well.
Well, that is right. What began as a protest movement in Delhi is now finding resonance in several Indian cities like Mumbai, Pune, Bengaluru, Kolkata, Hyderabad, Bhopal, even Ladakh for that matter. And what we understand that in Mumbai alone for the last 3 days, smaller groups are protesting in several parts of the city, protesting against the alleged examination irregularities and for having broader educational reforms. And they are also protesting against the brutality of the Delhi police against the protesting students in the last couple of days. Now, what we understand, Mumbai police do say that they have not issued any orders or permission for the protesters to protest, and that is why it is leading to detention. Although after several hours, they are being released. Allegedly, students also do tell us that several of them are receiving messages via WhatsApp also from the Mumbai police for them to come to the police station for questioning purposes. So all of these issues are happening on the ground level, but protesters do say that they are having a peaceful protest and the demonstrations will only further continue in the next couple of days.
In response to the police seeking an SIT investigation into the alleged excessive use of force, the Delhi High Court has sought responses from the centre and the Delhi police. They've also directed authorities to preserve CCTV footage, videography and all other relevant records related to the alleged police brutality against protesters during the CJP's march to the parliament in the national capital. All right, let's get you global updates now. Talking about Israel, a new opinion poll in Israel points to a significant shift in the country's political landscape. The survey suggests former military chief Gadi Eisenkourt's newly launched Yashar party emerging as the single largest political force in Israel's Knesset if elections were held today, with a projected 24 seats. A new survey for Channel 12 conducted by the Midgam Institute in cooperation with iPanel suggests that the arrival of new political parties is reshaping the balance of power between Israel's governing coalition and the opposition blocs. With the Yashar party leading the latest projections, Channel 12 poll shows Prime Minister Netanyahu's Likud party in the second place with 23 seats, while Naftali Bennett's Together party has dropped to 15 seats. The survey projects opposition parties at 59 seats as compared to 51 for the coalition parties. With the addition of the Arab parties, Hadash-Tal and Ram, which are projected to win a combined 10 seats, the opposition bloc could rise to 69. However, without their support, neither bloc would reach the 61-seat majority that is required to form the government. Now, a separate analysis by the Jewish People Policy Institute's Israeli Society Index examined the mood of the voters ahead of Israel's elections this year. As per this survey, 53% of Israelis said that they were completely certain about whom they would vote for, while 29% were fairly certain. Another 14% said that they were waiting for greater political clarity, and 4% said that they would not vote at all. Now, the findings suggest that the main electoral contest could focus on centrist voters, as many voters on the political left and right have already made firm decisions. Among voters on the left, 71% say that they are certain of their choice, compared with 58% on the right. Centrist voters, meanwhile, showed greater uncertainty about their choices, suggesting that they could become a key factor in determining the election outcome. The survey found that centrist identification increased to 13%, while support for the left declined to just 19%. As Russia continues to pound Ukraine, the internal turmoil in Zelensky government has deepened further. The political shakeup has led critics to question Zelensky's own intentions. The Ukrainian president, Volodymyr Zelensky, fired the commander-in-chief, Alexander Syrskyi, appointing popular General Mikhailo Drapatei as the new head of the armed forces. Drapatei will lead a major reorganization of Ukraine's military command structure. Going back on his previous decision, Zelensky said that the former defense minister, Mikhailo Fedorov, who was sacked last week, will return to government in a prominent position. Fedorov's dismissal, remember, sparked thousands of protesters to take to the streets of Kiev and other cities in one of Ukraine's biggest political crises since Russia's attack.
We saw the euphoria that our friends and our loved ones had when Fedorov was the Minister of Defense. But now, after the events of last Wednesday evening, this elation has disappeared, and a certain despair has certainly appeared. Therefore, while they are defending us there, we must stand for them here.
Under Mikhailo Fedorov's leadership, Ukraine expanded its drone warfare capabilities with long-range strike drones and advanced unmanned systems. The technology boosted the country's ability to hit targets deep inside Russia, disrupting military and energy infra. Fedorov's push for AI, autonomous systems and precision weapons helped shift Ukraine's war strategy from manpower to technology. Despite the announcement by Zelensky to reinstate Fedorov in the government, it remains unclear whether he will once again join the government or not. This is further added to the fog of war, especially at a time when Russia is ramping up its offensive on Ukraine. Major Ukrainian ports, including Mykolaiv, Sumy, Odessa, remain under incessant attacks by Russia. The political turmoil in Ukraine, triggered by recent decisions by Zelensky, has led critics to question his priorities and loyalties. Opponents argue that Zelensky chose to protect his political allies, including senior military figures and longtime loyalists, instead of retaining a minister credited with pushing major defense reforms. With that, it's a wrap on this edition of Race to Power. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. News and updates will continue on the other side.
The Israeli drone is above our heads all the time in Lebanon. More than 200,000 civilian homes have been destroyed. This looks like it used to be a toy for a little girl. Can't but wonder while I'm walking between all of this rubble, how many lives were destroyed, how many kids were traumatized, how many women lost their families. If this isn't a war crime, then what is?
From the southern suburb of Beirut, I'm Radi Francis for WION The World is One.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center.